Welcome back to Podiatry Marketing. I'm your host, Jim McDannald, here as always, with Tyson Franklin. Tyson, how's it going today?
I'm good today, Jim. Looking forward to today's topic. This is going to be the final pillar we're going to discuss.
Pillar number 6. Which one are we talking about today, Tyson?
Pillar 6, you just said it.
I know, but what's it about though? I don't even know.
Okay, so pillar 6 is online marketing. When I actually wrote my first book, I called it web-based marketing. Not sure why. And then when I wrote the second book, It's No Secret with Money in Small Business, I changed it to online marketing, and that's where I've stayed. So today's topic, pillar 6, online marketing.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to determine that. I think web was a big thing earlier in the day, and then I switched into online, and now you get a lot of the digital marketing stuff because there are some things, whether they're apps or what they are, it's whether it's online, is it on the phone, just kind of a catch-all phrase. So you kind of, things change over time, don't they?
Yeah, and what was funny, what's changed a lot with my thinking was when I wrote my first book, It's No Secret with Money in Podiatry, I said all pillars were equal. And what I meant by that was you should put an equal amount of time into each pillar over a given time frame. My thinking changed though. Over a 3 or 4 year period, all of a sudden I realized, no, all pillars aren't equal. Pillar 1 to 5 are equal, and you should put time into them. But pillar number 6, online marketing, is the king. It is the dominant pillar out of all of them. And it's something that you should constantly be working on. Whereas the others, I do this thing called pillar rotation. So when in my marketing workshops, I explain how it might be 1 month put focus on, say, professional referrers. The next month, you might taper that down a lot. Don't give up on it completely, but you put your focus into pillar number 2, non-professional. And you do that each month, you rotate. But pillar 6, your online marketing, is something you should always be working on. You don't, we'll give that a break for 6 months and come back to it later. It's something you should always be working on. It was because I was looking at my own habits. So when I had the podiatry clinic, every week I was always writing a blog. I was always going back and just looking at my website and tidying things up. If I was doing, say, external marketing, say I was placing an ad in the newspaper. Yes, it's fine to have that ad, and then that ad may end up online because newspapers went digital as well. So I'm thinking, even though I'm doing that's external marketing, but at the bottom of the ad, I'd always have something there about our website. So I realized that all the other pillars kept feeding into the online marketing pillar, which made me realize your online marketing never stops. It's always something that you must be thinking about. So we could have an editorial in a newspaper. You would get an electronic version of that. I would then take that electronic version and I'd put it onto our social media pages. Once again, I'm back onto the online. So I noticed through my own marketing habits that I may not always do external marketing, but I was always doing online marketing. So I just realized it is a constant. You must always be working at it.
No, that makes total sense. I think you touch on a topic, which is that your brick and mortar clinic is your physical presence in the real world, and your website and your online marketing is that presence and that kind of home base, if you will, for where things get pointed to, where the links or go information, that's all paths lead back to your website and your online presence. So that makes total sense to me.
Yeah, my friend Nikki Jerd, who did my website and as she says, she's your friendly nerd that everyone likes. But the one thing, Nikki and I were doing a workshop together once, and she said, your website is your mothership, and everything you do is to push everyone back to your mothership. So you don't run an ad and say, hey, go to my Facebook page. But in your Facebook page, you may have something there. You always want to try and link it back to your website. And I think that's something that people forget sometimes. They'll do an ad, go to my Facebook page. No, if you don't do that, get them to your website. It's your website, you own everything on your website as well, which is important.
No, that's hugely important. You don't control those other platforms, right? And they're always changing the rules. Once they're on those platforms, they may send them to different podiatrists. Who might be advertising on their platforms. When you do send them to your home base or to your website or to your online presence, then you have that. You control the environment, or you work with a provider who has built a website for your ideal patient, so it's just more attractive to them. So yeah, I definitely agree with that line of thinking.
Yeah, so you might be sending something to a professional referrer always have information there on how they can find your website or anything else that you're doing online. You might have a focus for the month on internal marketing. What are we going to do internally in our business to attract more patients? And we've spoken on that. But eventually you can't just constantly keep putting 100% energy in it. And that's what I meant about the pillar rotation, was put a lot of focus into it over a period of time, but you got to let it taper down. You don't give up on it, but you got to put your focus onto another pillar, but never lose focus on your website, writing blog articles, looking at your social footprint. How often are you posting? Do you have a strategy for all your online presence? And that's the thing that a lot of people tend to forget. They will do a Facebook post this week, won't do one for another 3 weeks. Then all of a sudden they might do 5 in a week. There's no strategy and thinking behind social media, blog writing, updating websites. And I think that's something that needs to be well thought out with yourself, your team, and whoever else you're working with. You do this with your clients, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, you have to have some set up consistent expectations for cadence of information. If, like you said, if you're sending out a monthly email and people are expecting it, you're probably more likely to get some feedback and for people to expect it and not mark it as spam or unsubscribe. It's when you're being erratic with that cadence. Like you go from one email like every 6 months, and then all of a sudden 4 in a month, people are going to be like, what's even going on here? It kind of creates like a bad user, a bad patient experience. So like you said, a lot of these channels, especially on the digital side, you just have to have a routine. Not that the stuff has to be exactly the same, but you need to like get into a good habit. It's like this podcast, right? It comes out every Monday.
It does.
I schedule it on Sundays. You do a great job of editing it. And it's one of those things where we have a consistent workflow where people are expecting you to get a new show on Monday. So it's no different when you're marketing your podiatry clinic.
I love that word that you're using, cadence, because it'd be no different to someone doing a marathon and just getting that rhythm going, and they just keep running and they go for 42 kilometers. I'd go for about 400 meters and that'd be it for me. But they just get the rhythm. They don't walk for a certain period of time and then sprint and then stop, have a bit of a rest, sprint again, and then start walking. That's not how you do a marathon.
Well, if you watch
it's that regular beat. It's that consistent sort of action that you're doing over a long period of time.
It's like when you see a kid run a cross country race or a track race for the first time, right? Let's say it's an 800 meters, it's 2 laps around the track. 99% of the time, 100% of the time, that kid is going to run the first lap the fastest, right? So like you get out to, and that's how you are in some people are in digital marketing or in online marketing, right? Like it's exciting. I'm going to get it. I'm going to do all those things really quick. And then the kid gets to the second lap and it's, is he going to even make it around the track on that second lap? His hands are on his hips. He's huffing and puffing, slowing down. Like the same thing happens with enthusiasm around these new shiny objects sometimes, and even in digital marketing, right? So you just have to have that steady pace, that cadence, and just be, like you talked about, from a marathon, try to hit even splits, be even and steady, and that's going to win the race.
Yeah, I have seen people do that with the website, and you can tell it. You'll go to the website, you'll click on the blog section. They'll have 8 blog articles there. All came out within about two or 3 weeks of each other 4 years ago.
Right.
There was nothing. There was so much excitement. Oh, I've got my website, write a blog. Next week, write a blog. Next week, write a blog. 3 years later, no blog. And it just died. And you can have a look and have latest news items on their website. It'll be something that happened 3 years ago, around the same time they wrote the blogs.
Yep.
You'll go to their Facebook pages and it'll be the same thing. There's all this action in short periods of time, like the kid doing the first 400 meters. And then all of a sudden there's nothing for 3 weeks. Then all of a sudden there's action. And you can normally tell when there's a new team member has turned up who might be a little bit tech savvy or loves the whole online world, and that creates the excitement again. But then once again, it dies back off.
Yeah.
So have you got tips? Have you got any tips on what you would advise people when it comes to creating the right cadence or creating a strategy for their overall online marketing pillar?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of things you talked about there. I think it's about finding those kind of high impact channels or things that they think will benefit the niche or the specialty they're in. And then just starting off, I think it's better to start off doing less, but consistently less, as opposed to just like getting, like I said, these bright, shiny objects, right? Like you want to try to do 8 things in the first month when you're trying to do these things. So Like I walk people through the first step of any online presence is like that website, right? Get a professional looking website, get authentic photos, get testimonials from people. Like that's like kind of the baseline. Work on your home, and then you can branch out into other aspects of whether it be Facebook or organic or Facebook ads or Google ads. Those other things can be added on in the future, but just like making sure that you have that home base, which is appeals to your ideal patient with the type of care you want to provide, type of patients you treat, and just like iterate on that. And it's not always perfect to start off with, but just getting things that show you as the expert, to have that kind of symbols of trust on your website, testimonials from people that you've helped basically overcome certain injuries or perform certain procedures. I think really like dialing in a unique professional looking website is the first step.
Mm.
And then you can talk about blog post writing, but the foundation of the content on that website and, highlighting your expertise should be like the first thing that needs to be iterated on, because you're not going to get it. Even a great website provider, that's going to take some time and some feedback with that person to get it dialed into where it should be.
Yeah. And one thing I always warn people, and I've probably said it before, if you make your own website and you do your own website, you design the whole thing, just be careful, because even parents with ugly kids think they look good. So if you've done your own website and you go, oh, geez, I've done a good job, it looks so good. Even if you just ask close family and friends, they might tell you, oh yeah, it looks good, but it may not. And I think that's where using a professional person unless you're an expert at it yourself and you know seriously what looks good. But if you're not, like I would never design my own website. I had it done for me. I do everything behind the scenes now, and I look after it and I nurture it and I do everything I should, but I didn't do the design because I know all my kids look good. So I'd be biased.
Well, you love your practice. You love what you do for
Yeah.
work. And it's really hard to be unbiased and really take step into the shoes of the patient or to some stranger coming onto your website and wanting to perform a certain action, because all the care you provide, you know how to get in contact with your clinic, all these things. So you already project that onto the website. But someone who's never been to your website, doesn't know you, doesn't know the care you provide, is looking for certain types of information on your website. Like they have a different mindset, and it's really hard when you're inside your practice to really see that perspective. It takes not that you have to have some crazy expensive website, but you need to have an outside perspective to do those steps, those actions that not only are going to benefit you and your clinic, but also will benefit the community and your prospective patients.
Yeah, it's true. And I think the other part with your website is a really good place to, one, people are going to find you. You're going to have patients that will come to your website for starters, but you're going to have complete strangers that turn up at your website. And I think it's a good idea to have something there that you can offer that they can download for free in exchange for their email address. So you need to have a good CRM program in the background that you're collecting these email addresses. And then once again, you're nurturing those. To me, that is all part of your whole online presence. Doing e-newsletters is part of your online presence. Connecting with other businesses on social media and other people through LinkedIn is part of your online presence. So even though we've talked a lot about websites, just think of any single time you're in front of your computer and you're using the internet somewhere, that is part of your online work. And like I said, it needs to be part of your cadence. You need to get a habit of doing certain things. I know some people that when it comes to, like say Instagram, for example, they might have an Instagram page and they dedicate, it might be 1 hour a week where all they do is just dedicate that 1 hour a week towards Instagram because it's a platform that works well for them. Other people I know jump on TikTok, do all their funny dancing and stuff like that. You can't be on every platform and do it well. So to me, it's important to talk to your patients, find out what platforms they are on, your ideal patient, and then focus your attention into those platforms. And that's all part of your online strategy as well.
Yeah. And it's also about talking to your patients. I think we talked about in a previous podcast about patient surveys and just having conversations with our patients about what they like, where they're at. They don't have to be invasive conversations, right? Or pump people for too much personal information. But when you get the general sense of where those ideal patients are coming from, like you said, knowing what channels they are, what social platforms, and then being there, being visible on those channels is super important, because this is always, Facebook used to show all your friends, all your posts, and it doesn't work that way anymore. These platforms are They want to be fed by user engagement. If it bleeds, it leads, or if it's something controversial, it's going to get a lot more engagement. They want to show that to people to keep them on the platforms and looking at advertising. But yeah,
I put something on my personal page. I a little while ago, and it had, I did a little photo, and it had knobhead alert or knobhead warning, I think it said. It was probably one of the most engagement I've ever got on a post that I've done. And it was about someone who had approached me, like a friend request. I saw it. I had a look and I said, oh yeah, I know some of these people that they know. So I said, okay, I accepted it. Then all of a sudden this person was like, hey, you should have a look at I can help you 10 times your business. And I know, here we go. So I went and had a look at his profile, dug in a little bit deeper, and I sent him a message, said, can I offer you a little suggestion? When I go to your personal page, I learn nothing about you. All it is 100% business from start to finish. Nothing. Next thing he tells me to F off. He starts arguing with me and getting really rude and all this. And I said, look. So I gave him he actually unfriended me before I could unfriend him because I just kept stirring him. I kept picking at him to get him all fired up. But then, I just put knobhead alert that I'm sick of people connecting with you on social media purely just to ram stuff down your throat. It's really annoying. Now, the reason I bring that up is even with your own Facebook pages that's connected with your clinic, just remember that if your patients are following you, they don't want constant podiatry stuff just rammed down their throat every single day. Mix it up. Share some podiatry information. Direct them to your website. But at other times, let them see a little bit more about who you are so they know that you're a person. And whether it's something about the community, it could be a quote, it could be an interesting story, but don't just make it all about you and your podiatry business because it can get boring really fast.
I totally agree. If you don't have a little bit of personality in there and you're always asking a schedule appointment, they'll tune you out, they'll unlike the page and they'll move on because no one wants to be, I would say it's being hassled, but just you don't want to have that constantly in your face. You want to have a person that those channels are to build trust, to build relationships, and it should be approached that way. And if it's trying to be just a transaction, most people are just going to tune that out or just delete or unlike.
Oh, definitely. And I've seen pages that do it really well. You'll see they might have a couple of thousand people following it. You can tell the engagement by how many people are not just liking it. Anyone can just, it's the comments that people do, or it's how many times it is shared. So when I put the thing knobhead alert, that was shared 3 or 4 times very quickly because people read them and went, yeah, I hate that too. And they shared it on their page, which made my post even more popular. But you can see the clinics that don't do it well, they'll post something. It'll have 3 likes from their mum, their dad, and the business owner. Their staff don't even like it.
Right.
So I'm thinking if you're posting stuff at the moment on social media and you're not getting any engagement, just change the angle of it. Just do something a little bit different.
Yep. It's about iterating, experimenting a little bit with different types of content and then you'll find your niche.
Yeah. So in review of the whole online presence, just remember the 6 marketing pillars, 1 to 5 are all equal, but number 6, your online marketing is something you must keep working on, keep improving, keep trying to get better, test new things. And a tip that somebody gave me ages ago said, every time a new platform comes on board, say for example, it's TikTok or whatever it is, sign up for it. You don't have to use it, but at least sign up for it and try and get your practice name as soon as possible. Get your practice name and even your personal name, even if you never use it, because you don't know which platforms are going to do what. Like Facebook, who would have thought I thought Facebook was crap when I first saw it. I was wrong. Nikki Jerd, my good friend, she said, it'll never last. She admits she was wrong. And even the people who use Facebook, it's changed over the years. Now it's like people our age on it. My daughter who's 17 gets Facebook. Oh, why would I want to go on Facebook? I'm on Snapcrap or something. So you never know. Just keep watching what's happening. Grab your name and your business name if you can, whether you use it or not. So that's all I had to say, Jim, on this topic. I want you to conclude because this is more your area than my area.
Yeah, but I think you have some good input and thoughts there. I think the biggest thing you said is like, it translates to what people do in their podiatry education as well. It's like continuous learning, right? Like like the world we live in changes all the time. So we have to be ready to be disrupted or what the next big thing is. And not that you have to, like you said, you don't have to jump in and become like a crazy TikTok dancer like I'm sure you are behind the scenes. I'll have to look up
awesome
Tyson Franklin on TikTok when we're done with this podcast. But you just have to, like you said, just see what's out there and then focus on a few things, have a good cadence of quality content. If it's not hitting, then make some adjustments. But no, I thought that it makes total sense that the online marketing is that biggest pillar and the one you're working on a consistent basis. So thanks for sharing those tips today. And I'll talk to you soon, Tyson. Okay.
I look forward to our next episode. Talk to you later, Jim.
See you, Tyson.